Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Now, first of all I'd like to start off by thanking everybody who wished me happy birthday yesterday. That was meant a lot to me, thank you very much. I had a relatively nice quiet day, but still had a nice time all around. So thank you all very much for that. Now today we're going to be revisiting a band called Tethra. I covered them a little while ago at the beginning of December last year, I believe it was. I looked at a track called The Ground Feeder. Now, I did enjoy the track quite a bit. However, I wasn't overly fond of the clean vocals that were used in the track. They sounded a little bit off, a little bit strange to me. I mean, they weren't, like, terrible. I mean, they didn't, like, ruin the experience of the track for me, but I thought they needed a little bit of improvement. But that track was from back in, excuse me, 2017. So there's a chance, you know, the clean vocal style may have changed, possibly improved, I don't know. But and as I always say, you know, I won't judge a band by a single example of their work, and I've not actually heard any other tracks by them since then. So, yes, today we're going to be looking at a brand new track that's just been released by Tethra, a track called A Light Year Breath, featuring Gogo Melone, who is a female singer from Greece. She's a vocalist and digital artist, and is currently from the bands Ionian Sorrow and Luna Obscura. Now, I have heard of Ionian Sorrow before, but I don't think I've ever actually heard any of their music, and Luna Obscura I've not heard anything about, so I'm going to have to investigate them at some point. Now, this track, A Light Year Breath, is off the upcoming Tethra album, Empire of the Void, which is out on March 20th. I will put links to where you can pre-order the album down below, should you be interested. Now, as I said, this track has just been released. Luckily, lyrics were provided underneath the video on YouTube, so we will be looking through those as we go through the track. Since I've covered the band before, I'm not going to go into too much detail about who the band are. So I think we'll jump straight to the track now. So, A Light Year Breath by Tethra. Let's have a look, see what we have.
Dissolving to another with your breath.
Well, there we go. Light Year Breath by Tethra. That was a very, very good track. The music in it was phenomenal. Gogo Melone's supporting vocals, brilliantly performed. She's got a stunning voice, very powerful vocals. And I will say that the clean vocals on Tethra's part have improved considerably since Ground Feed. They sound a lot better. They sound a lot less strained or forced, which is how I described them when I last checked them. They sound a lot better, a lot smoother. Now, excuse me. Musically, that track was phenomenal, and I love the video too. Sort of all that sort of time-lapse video near the beginning, and then all that interesting sort of, I can't think of how to explain it, sort of abstract, sort of fluid art throughout the end of the video there. And, you know, it was brilliant. Brilliantly performed. You know, you got your harsh vocals in there, you got the clean vocals, you got those female vocals by Gogo Melone. All very, very well performed. It sounded brilliant. When I covered the Ground Feed, I said his growled vocals sounded very similar to Nick Holmes from Paradise Lost when on the Plague Within album when he did a track like No Hope in Sight. And again, sounds very, very similar in the execution and style. Now, the song itself, it seems to be talking about possibly like the creation of the world and human beings. As that's the best I can get from it. The lyrics go, "From this void, desire was born, and from desire came humans. Follow his breath and dissolve into another way of being, into the deep. The stars are blind, unmoved by our constant sense of loss, into the deep. It contracts and expands for 1,000 billion times. Pulse that gives rise to every scale of existence, singularity of our life. Follow his breath and dissolve into another way of being, into the deep. The stars are blind, unmoved by our constant sense of loss, into the deep of me. Of me. If you want now, be free. Man, you were vast. There was almost no end to the different shapes of thought, to fill the distance between your inner self and the most distant of the stars. Follow this breath and dissolve into another way of being, into the deep. The stars are blind, unmoved by our constant sense of loss, into the deep." Sorry about that. So yeah, there are certain lines in there that suggest that this is about like the creation of the world and the creation of man. For example, I mean, just the opening line from this void, desire was born, and from desire came humans. So that's like, you know, from the void, desire was born, and I'm guessing, you know, like the desire to create a universe, and you know, within this universe, humans were created upon this earth. Follow this breath and dissolve into another way of being, into the deep. The stars are blind, unmoved by our constant sense of loss. So it's like, that seems to be like our own personal, our sense of loss, our own personal experiences don't affect the galaxy at large. Essentially, they don't affect the universe in a huge way. We're just like a very small, inconsequential speck in a vast, vast universe. That's what that line seems to suggest. I'm not entirely sure. It says it contracts and expands 1,000 billion times. A pulse that gives rise to every scale of existence, a singularity of our life. So, you know, the galaxy is constantly expanding, the universe is constantly expanding, you know, it's infinite in its width and breadth and depth, apparently, and still expanding, apparently. And, you know, it gives rise to every scale of existence, the singularity of our life. You know, again, gives rise to every scale of existence. You know, that could, you know, we still believe, or a vast majority of people still believe, that we are the only living organism in this universe, in this galaxy, what have you. And it's kind of ignorant and somewhat arrogant to think that we could possibly be the only living organism in this entire galaxy, in this entire universe even. Because, what makes this one planet out of the countless others within the universe? What makes this one planet so special that it's the only one with life on it? It can't possibly be true. But yeah, from what I can tell, it's just about like the creation of the universe and like humankind. And there is a line here that says, "Man, you were vast. There was almost no end to the different shapes of thought to fill the distance between your inner self and the most distant stars." So, man, you were vast, not like, man, you're vast, like you're a huge person. No, it's like, mankind, you are a vast population. There is a lot of you, and there's almost no limit to our imagination. No limit to the different ways we can explore things. Like exploring ourselves in comparison to the rest of the universe. Our exploration of the universe, the galaxy, the solar system we occupy. There's no limit for that. That's all I'm managing to get from it. I might be missing a much deeper meaning somewhere, but the song is in and of itself. I really, really enjoyed it. It sounded really, really good. Like Gogo Melone's vocals did sort of slightly overpower the male clean vocals a little bit. They were sort of hard to distinguish at times, but that's no means a bad thing. Both voices still came together and sounded really, really good. Hers were just more prominent than his. There was a bit towards the end when he said, "Man, you were vast. There was almost no end to the different shapes of thought," etc. That was just the male vocals alone. And like I said, it did sound a lot better than it did on the earlier track that I checked out from back in 2017. So, very good, very, very good. I did really enjoy that track. It was a beautiful piece of music, brilliantly executed, vocals fantastic, and I've said on multiple occasions I do like when several different styles of vocals come together in a single track. So yes, I really liked that. That was a very, very good track. Beautiful piece of music, beautiful song, brilliantly executed. I like that. But I can't really think of much else to say about that, because I'm not even sure I've got the meaning of the song down. If anybody cares to venture an idea as to what it could possibly be, then please, by all means, put your ideas below. But I'm going to leave that one as it is for the time being. Now, if anybody would like to suggest a track for me to react to, then please do so. By all means, you can drop a comment in the comment section below, or message me on my Facebook or my Instagram, or you can even message me through my Patreon, where you can also help to support this channel and help me create future content, and maybe even improve the quality of said future content. There is also a option within Patreon where you can get your suggestion jumped to the front of the queue, should you so desire. There are a couple of limitations on that, however, in order to be fair to other people who suggest through regular means, like through the comments on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube videos. And if you do suggest track through those regular means, do know it might take me a while to get around to it, since I get suggested so many tracks every single day that my list grows faster than I can record the videos. I get suggested so many tracks every single day. I can't possibly record all of them all at once. So it might take me a while to get around to it. I do write down every single suggestion I get, so I will get around to it eventually. It's just going to take me a while to get to it, unfortunately. Also, Metalhead Reacts is a proud supporter of the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, a British-based charity whose main goal is to put an end to hate crimes, mainly those aimed towards people of the alternative culture. And it's something I believe in very, very strongly, something I'm very, very passionate about, because it's something I've had to deal with for a large portion of my life. Many of my friends have had to deal with it. Many members of my family have had to deal with it, just purely because we listen to alternative music. People every day all over the world are getting violently attacked because they listen to alternative music. People are getting verbally, physically assaulted. They're getting brutally beaten, punched, kicked, they're having bones broken, sometimes they're getting even invasive injuries just because of their taste in music. And, you know, this is a problem that's been going on. It's been going on for years. I've been dealing with this personally since I was about 11 years old. And, you know, I turned 40 yesterday, and, you know, it still goes on. You know, I still get verbal insults thrown at me. I still get shoulder rammed into walls and doorways and stuff like that. You know, it still happens. You know, and this is like nearly 30 years I've been dealing with this, and many other people have to deal with it for possibly even longer than I have. And it's a real problem, but nothing's getting done, and it never gets addressed. And that needs to change, because, you know, people are really getting hurt. And the last time there was any widespread coverage of the fact that this is happening, the last time anybody really spoke about this at any great length was 12 years ago, when Sophie Lancaster and her boyfriend Rob Maltby were brutally assaulted by a group of 5 or 6 people whilst they were like minding their own business on their way home. A group of 5 or 6 people jumped them and attacked them, beat them, kicked them, punched them, stamped on their heads. And, you know, they brutalised these people so severely that they both ended up in a coma. Now, Rob Maltby, he thankfully survived. He was in a coma for around about a week, maybe a bit longer. I can't remember exactly how long. But Sophie Lancaster was in a coma for 13 days before she finally succumbed to her injuries, and she died. This girl, 20-year-old girl, was murdered just because of the music that she listened to and the clothes that she wore. Just because she was into alternative music. You know. And it's unbelievable that sort of thing happened. And that, like I said, that happened 12 years ago, and that's the last time anybody really spoke about it. And I can guarantee you, in the 12 years since that happened, hundreds, if not thousands of other people from the alternative community have been attacked in a similar fashion, just because of their music taste. And the only reason we've not heard anything about it is because nobody has died as a result. And that is just disgusting. It should not take someone's death for this subject to get spoken about. You know, it shouldn't take that much for a subject to come to light. You know, if someone is brutally assaulted, for whatever reason, something needs to be done. But that's just not the case here. It doesn't get the attention it needs, because nobody cares. And that needs to change. Because, you know, people I know, they've been assaulted with baseball bats. You know, they've been brutally beaten with baseball bats just because they listen to alternative music. You know, I've been cornered and had 10 shades kicked out of me because I listen to alternative music. But, you know, and this is by groups of people, like 2, 3, 4, 5 people, you know, just attacking you because you like different music. It's the stupidest thing. I mean, you don't attack someone because they like different movies and TV shows, do you? You know. So why is music the tipping point? What is it about that makes people want to attack you? It makes no sense. But it goes on every day and nothing gets done. You know, every day we hear about all these other hate crimes, sexism, racism, homophobia, transphobia, ableism. We hear about these sorts of things every single day, and we hear every crime on the spectrum, from the most heinous and violent crime where someone is brutally murdered because of the colour of their skin, because of their sexual preference or identity, you know, down to the most petty of these crimes where entitled Karen is calling the police because a family of colour are having a picnic in a public space. You know, we hear everything about these every single day, but we don't hear about these people who are getting brutalised because of their taste in music. And people have argued with me before that this isn't a hate crime. It is. It is a hate crime. It is the very definition of a hate crime. You know, a hate crime is violently attacking someone because you hate something about them, whether it is the colour of their skin, their sexual preference, their sexual identity, or their taste in music. If you hate that one thing about that person, and that is the reason for your attack on them, that is a hate crime. You know. So attacking someone because of their taste in music, because of their taste in clothing, is a hate crime. And it needs to stop. You know, we need to bring more attention to this, to get more people speaking about it, so we can put an end to this, so that, you know, no one else will have to suffer the fate that Sophie Lancaster suffered. You know, and this is what the Sophie Lancaster Foundation is all about. They want to bring more attention to the fact that this is happening. They want to stop this from ever happening again. What happened to Sophie Lancaster should never have happened in the first place, and we most certainly cannot allow it to happen again. You know. And the best way to do that is to get more people talking about it, to get more people recognising that this is happening. You know, because the people that are committing these crimes are essentially just getting away with it at this point. You know, because no one cares enough to do anything about it. So we need to do something about it. We need to bring attention to this. We need to put a stop to it. So if you'd like to find out more about the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, there is a link to their website in the description below. You can go over there, find out what they're working on at the moment, find out what their goal is, because they can explain it a lot better than I can. And if you can help them out in any way, obviously don't feel obligated to do so, but if you can help them out in any way, you know, whether it's like a small donation to their website or even something like one of these Sophie wristbands from their web store, you know, the smallest amount can make the biggest difference. And the sooner we bring more attention to this, the sooner we get more people talking about this, the sooner we can help to stamp out prejudice, hatred, and intolerance everywhere. But I'm going to leave that as it is for the time being. Thank you all very, very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Follow his breath and dissolve into another, will just be